Peace, everybody. This is Medicine Man. Once again, we having this live discussion on self-perception and root working. How y'all doing today? Self-perception, man, is very important in life. The way we perceive ourselves in life is very crucial to the way other people perceive us, because we exert a certain amount of energy, a certain amount of force, and a certain amount of power through our personality. And light as we take it, people judge us. Excuse me. Based on how we perform. Excuse me, y'all. I have to put the cigar down. Can't smoke and talk to y'all. I got it. Ourselves and the way we interact with people. Our self-perception is definitely critical in our life. Now, how we perceive ourselves, like I said, it's very critical to our spiritual health, well-being, because our well-being, we have to maintain our well-being no matter what kind of circumstance or situation we put ourselves in. We always have to maintain our well-being. Oftentimes in this life, we've been taught and programmed to have the need others and the concern of others as an important factor as being ahead of us, ahead of ourselves. And what I think from that, and what we gather from that, is that us putting ourselves on the back burner and being raised in a culture that teaches us to care for others more than we care for ourselves. When being raised in a culture where our consciousness is externalized. You see, that's one of the biggest problems we have. Living in a culture where our perceptions, our consciousness is externalized. We don't have the time to really focus on our inner work. Because everything is, we got to go to work, we have to tend to the family, we have to tend to everything that's outside of us. We got to pay these bills, the creditors call, and you got problems at the job. All of those are external realities, all of that. And our consciousness, our emotions are contained in life to where external realities versus the internal reality. You see, we live in two different worlds at the same time. We're multidimensional beings. So we have to know how to navigate and perfect our worlds, the physical one as well as the spiritual one. Now, a lot of us are spiritual. So when you say, well, Medicine Man, what is the spiritual world? What are you talking about? Well, the dream world. When you go to sleep and you're dreaming, you're traveling, you're experiencing a different reality from your waking reality, okay? And it's just as real as this one. You receive spirit messages, you see people you've never seen before, you talk to the dead, you're talking to angels, you're talking to spirits, you're running from demons. All of these things happen in the dream world. And it'll seem while you're dreaming that hours after hours after hours, maybe days have went by while you're in the dream. And then come to find out, you only been sleeping for about 45 minutes. Because in the dream world, there is no sense of time. Time is a tool constrained and created by man to measure his distance, this event to that event, But in the spirit world, there's no sense of time. You see? So, the idea is that we live in an externalized society where all of our perceptions have been objectified, externalized, and we need to concentrate more on things that are outside of ourselves. You see, and this act happens on a daily basis. It becomes deeply rooted in this. You see? All of the things that we care about now are external from us. You know, they're outside. And see, when we talk outside, we're talking about those when our mental perception, by forgetting the importance of the internal world. You see what I'm saying? We forget the importance of our internal world, where everything is outside. When all our perceptions are concentrated on the job, this person, my friends, this person, my relationship, that person, all of that stuff is external. We never do the internal work, and this damages our self-perception, how we perceive ourselves. Because if you begin to perceive yourself as an external being, then your consciousness is going to live outside of you. So all of the problems and issues and things that's going on inside of you, and once you neglect yourself, you're like an open vessel to be programmed towards anything. Because this world is nothing but one gigantic, huge programming. You're weak-minded and willed, and a person who forgets themselves, who their consciousness internalized, will be willed. A victim to be programmed by society. You're going to be a robot for society, meaning you're going to be always emotionally caught up to what's going on. Oh, Donald Trump, the president. Now your nerve bad. Oh, this is going on. Now your nerve bad. None of these things directly affect you, but the way that you perceive the situation and the fact that you don't perceive yourself allows you to be emotionally controlled by every external event that takes place. And this is how people become puppets to the system. By every individual not attuning themselves to themselves. They're attuning themselves to all these external factors, peoples, and events that are only out here as a form of distraction from you developing yourself, finding out who you really are, and expressing that to its highest potential. That's what this external world is about. This is the esoteric teaching of when the Bible says that God cast the devil and the angels out of heaven down to the earth as their dwelling place. Meaning that people on this planet is going to be antagonistic towards your self-development. Everything on this planet is going to be an adversary to your growth. The key will always be to find your way through, to find your path, and overcome the obstacles that were intentionally placed on the physical realm for you to conquer. Because conquering all your obstacles takes you into a higher level of development. And this is what that story means, for the most part. So the things that are in your sphere of awareness, and I only thought I had about 10 minutes, but I ended up a little over 10 minutes with this. But the things that are in your sphere of awareness should always be you, your ancestral bloodline, your family, and then these other worlds. These other worlds include all kinds of things. There's all kinds of worlds out there. Astral world, spiritual world, ancestral world. I even seen the world of the fairies, the dragons, and people have beliefs, and I respect everything. And there's worlds, because these worlds are created for the most part. Some of them are created within our own minds, and some of them just exist because they're eternal planes of existences. And the ultimate goal of our life is to balance all existences with our existence that we currently live in, that complete balance. So you can't be all external and worry about your job, your career, and all of these friends you got and all the people around you, and not worrying about what take place or what spiritual message you receive. What visions are you seeing when you're sleeping? Because those visions, those messages that you're seeing and stuff while you're sleeping are reinforcements to the physical life you're living. It's a reflection of it. A reinforcement, pure reinforcement. You see? So you want to only deal with those things that are in your sphere of awareness. And you must be totally, absolutely aware of those things in that sphere. This should be the basis of your consciousness as a root work. You should only think about your ancestors, yourself, your family, and then think about the worlds. But when you think of the ancestors, for example, go there. When we talk about the ancestors, we're talking about our bloodline. Everything. Your kids are the biggest expression of the ancestors. That's like, your children is the real deal. And I think I've said this many times before, how your children, you can have children that look like your great-great-granddaddy or your great-great-grandmama or your grandaunt or somebody else in your family. Don't even look like you or your spouse. You see? And that's because these children are the ancestors' return. So when the ancestors return, you got to care for them. You are already here. You are an ancestor return, awakening yourself. And you're already here. So you have to be the caretaker for the younger ancestors that's coming up. Because those spirits of your children are the spirits of your bloodline. And that's why that's important. When you maintain your bloodline, you maintain yourself. You maintain the generations that's going to come 150 years from now. Because you are the highest expression of the ancestors from 150 years ago. You see? And perfecting yourself is perfecting your bloodline. So that the children that your offspring that you produce is going to be a higher genetic manifestation of you. And the children that they produce are going to be a higher genetic manifestation than them. And by us continuously correcting our bloodlines from what we've been through, by us continuously correcting our bloodline, we make it stronger. We put it right back into its rightful place. And we've contributed 1,000% towards that development. And that is one of our greatest responsibilities here. And this is why we work with the ancestors exclusively. Now, outside entities, the things outside of your sphere awareness is always an outside entity, be it a person, an event, or an actual spirit entity. These outside entities should never be placed in your highest authority. The highest authority is only those things that should exist in your spirit. Your ancestors, God, your bloodline, and the worlds that all of these things reside. It's only important. Now, when you're working with the spirits, you're talking about power now. You're talking about manifesting change in life. But hell, you can manifest power and manifest change through your ancestors. Now, if you're a spiritual worker, you would definitely not use your ancestors for, other people's work and stuff like that. That's when they're having the knowledge and the skill set and the proficiency of working with other spirits is very useful, because you send the other spirits to go do the work for other people. That's how it works. But these other spirits should not be in your sphere of awareness like that. And I know it may sound crazy for most people, but the ancestors is the truth. Because without them, you wouldn't be here. Without them, you wouldn't know what you even know right now. Okay, so now, I'm going to sit back for a second. Let's see if I'm taking any questions. Let's see what's going on out here. Let's pull up my chat. Good morning, Tasha. Hi, Latoya. Hi, Chanson. Chanson says, morning, I totally agree. I find myself having to calm my mother down and give her a perspective often about life obstacles. Yeah, most definitely. The obstacles of life, you know, that's another deep thing. We face obstacles, but we need to realize for the most part that our obstacles is a training ground for us to become better people, for us to perfect ourselves in ways that we really never probably thought about. You know, mastering the obstacle just sends you into another place if you learn the lesson to it. A lot of people don't learn the lesson from the obstacles, and they keep going over and over, same obstacle again and again and again until you use the obstacle emotionally, well, mentally. Sometimes we put out